Hi, my name is Jeff Carr, and I'm the Chief Operating Officer for the Special Olympics World Games Los Angeles, which will be coming to our great city next summer in 2015. It'll be the largest sporting event in the world next year, and it will give us a tremendous opportunity to show off the abilities of people with intellectual disabilities in the area of sports. And today we're kicking off a new speaking series called Celebrate Abilities, a series hosted on Google Plus and YouTube that spotlights the stories and the abilities of people with intellectual disabilities. And I can't think of anyone better to launch that series than my friend and colleague, Dustin Plunkett. Dustin has been a Special Olympics athlete for the last 17 years. He's an advocate, he's a great speaker, and more importantly, he's my friend and colleague, and he's my boss. Dustin is on the board of the directors of the Games Organizing Committee, and he's also working at the Games Organizing Committee as an associate, Games associate. And Dustin is a tremendous person. Over the last 3 years, I've gotten an opportunity to spend a lot of time with him, and I can tell you he's one of the most inspirational people I know, and he's also just a lot of fun to hang out with. So I can't think of anybody better to start us off than my friend Dustin Plunkett. So Dustin, take it away and tell us your story.
Thank you, Jeff, for that wonderful introduction. Really appreciate it. And you're also a good friend of mine as well, all the time we spent together. My goal here today is to educate you guys about Special Olympics, inspire you through my own personal story, and motivate you either to give or get involved in Special Olympics. Special Olympics' mission is to provide year-round sports training and athletic competition for people with intellectual disabilities from the age of 8 to 80, and where we get to share gifts, skills, joy, friendship, not only with ourselves, but our families and our communities as well. The history of Special Olympics, we were founded by Eunice Kennedy Shriver in 1968, where she started it because she had a sister, Rosemary, with intellectual disabilities, who was neglected, was told to stay inside and everything. And Eunice said, no, my sister's going to come out and show the world the ability that she has. Where she took Rosemary and her friends in the neighborhood, took them to her backyard and trained them in swimming and track and field events. And it was called Camp Shriver. And then in 1968, she took all those athletes and athletes from Canada and across the U.S. to Soldier Field in Chicago and held the first ever Special Olympics Games in 1968. There she met Rafer Johnson, Olympic decathlon gold medalist from the 1960 Rome Games, and challenged Rafer to get involved in Special Olympics. And Rafer came back to California and started Special Olympics California, where we are now Northern and Southern California. So Southern California was just awarded the bid for the World Games, as Jeff Carr said earlier. So the world is coming, 177 different countries, 7,000 athletes, 3,000 coaches. But my life is easy now today, but growing up, it was not the same like it is today. Growing up as a kid, I was bullied every single day of my life, being called names like retarded, stupid, slow, everything. Where in Special Olympics, we now have a campaign called Spread the Word to End the Word, trying to get people to stop using the word retarded and slow and stupid and get them to use the word respect for people with intellectual disabilities so they can feel a part of it. And me growing up, it was hard for me to make friends. People heard how I talked, they just turned their back and ran as fast as they can to get away from me because they did not want to have any part with me. Where I became a self-proclaimed couch potato bug, where I sat at home watching TV and playing video games each and every day of my life. Um, and then I also had a rough home life where I was born with a cleft palate and an intellectual disability, and nobody in my family knew how to support me, so I was moved home to home, family member to family member, and nobody in my family was able to support me. And then when I was participating in Lakewood Youth Sports Program, I was hounded by a Parks and Recreation director about joining Special Olympics, and he was hounding me for 2 years. And then finally, I convinced my dad to sign the form to get me involved in Special Olympics. But before I had to convince my dad, he goes, "Why don't you meet some of the athletes?" So I go, and before I even get into the building to meet all of his athletes that he has in his program, three of them come up to me and they're like, "What's your name?" I'm like, "Oh, Dustin." Like, well, we're about to go play basketball. How would you like to come play with us? So I jumped at that opportunity. I'm out there on the basketball courts, and I noticed they got the same skills as me. They talk just like me. So I'm like, hey guys, let's take a time out real quick. I got one question to ask you guys. And I asked them all the same question: why did you join Special Olympics? And all of them said, because it's a second family. Where I then joined Special Olympics, where all 15,500 athletes at Special Olympics Southern California serves are my brothers and sisters, and the staff and the coaches are like my parents, and they guide me along the way in my life. And Special Olympics is for not only people with intellectual disabilities, but their families as well. Special Olympics has the power to change families' lives and family relationships. Because a friend of mine, Sarah, her mom, Jill, who is a Special Olympics coach, um, and Sarah's biological dad, they got divorced. And then since then, Joe's been remarried. But then through Special Olympics and the power of Special Olympics, it has repaired that relationship. And now Jill, her ex-husband, and her current husband are now coaching Sarah and other athletes in track and field. That's the power of Special Olympics, that we can change families like that. So please, if your family, if you know somebody in your family with intellectual disability, get them involved. It will change their life and your family's life as well. Um, my personal story with Special Olympics is when I joined, I had no idea how fortunate and blessed that I would be. Because in Special Olympics, a lot of people don't know this, but Special Olympics is the largest healthcare provider for people with intellectual disabilities, where we give 7 point checkups, where we screen for people's teeth, their hearing, their feet, their eyes, their fitness, and dietary guidance, showing them how to eat right, drink water instead of drinking soda, not smoke because of the way it damages, and wear sunblock. And then the seventh one is a MedFest thing, where we screen our athletes to get them physicals and make sure that they are able to compete in Special Olympics. Where back in 2004, I went through the Special Smile screening, getting my teeth screened by a volunteer dentist. And at this time, he said, Dustin, your teeth are in really, really bad shape, and you need to go see a local dentist in your area right away. And that Parks and Recreation director who had me to get involved was by my side at this time, and we leave the tent, and he calls his personal dentist for me. And I go in a week later, and I meet his dentist, and he does x-rays, and he comes back in the room a couple minutes later after looking at him, and he says, Dustin, brace yourself. I have some bad news for you, but don't worry about it. I know how to fix it. And he goes on to tell me that I have gum cancer forming in the upper left side of my mouth. And if it would have went one more month longer, I would not be alive today, showing the world my $1 million smile. Special Olympics has the power to save lives and change lives. So please get involved. And then, as Jeff said, I excelled in the higher rankings of Gold Messengers, where I became an international Gold Messenger for the class of 2007 through 2010, where I got to travel the world sharing my story. One of my fondest memories of this is when I was in Shanghai, China in 2007. I arrived at the hotel and they're like, yeah, we forgot to tell you that you're speaking at opening ceremonies. I'm like, okay, that's no big deal. How big is the stadium? They're like, oh, it's just 100,000 people. So I was a nervous wreck the first night, got no sleep at all. And then it's the day of opening ceremonies, and they throw another curveball at me. They're like, oh yeah, you're speaking with Yao Ming. I'm like, yeah, Yao Ming, the basketball player from the Houston Rockets who was born and raised in Shanghai. They're like, yeah. I'm like, okay, great. I'm gonna be looking up all night long like this, and getting the stiff neck. But when Yao and I we were in front of the many thousands of people during opening ceremonies, we were introducing the final leg of the torch. And it was just amazing just getting to stop when Yao was speaking and look out at the crowd, seeing all the multiple colors and all the flags around the world there. And I began to dream right then and there what it would be like having the World Games come to Los Angeles. So the world is coming. Are you? That's the question we have out there for anybody and everybody who's willing to listen. So I'm going to challenge you guys today to get involved. And also, if you have time and you're at a special Olympics competition, talk with the athlete. I'll promise you this, if you give us 1 minute of your time, we'll give you our heart. And there are many different ways you guys can get involved, whether it's becoming an athlete for those with intellectual disabilities, to get your business to sponsor and partner with Special Olympics. My very first speech was with Durham Transportation, trying to get bus drivers to come out and drive the buses for us. And to this day, from 1998 till now, I still see the same volunteer driver who is there at the basketball venue each and every June at our summer games. So it's just amazing to have partners like Durham Transportation, like Mattel, like Toyota, like Vaughn's. So if your company is not involved yet, get involved. It will change your company's life. And then also, people, if you have time and you don't have money to give your time to Special Olympics. There's a competition going on anywhere in the world right now. I bet you there's one going on right now. Tomorrow we have one here in Southern California. Next weekend, the weekend after that, there's one every single weekend throughout the year. So please get involved. And the ways you guys can get involved, if you want to get involved on a local level, go to sosc.org. Or if you want to get involved in the LA 2015 World Games and change the lives of 7,000 athletes from 177 countries and you want more information or more ways to get involved, go to la2015.org. Thank you so much for your time. Hope to see you all in the city of Los Angeles in July of 2015.